to recruit, going forward. But if you have people who are in Houston, you can do one or two things. You can just call them and make sure they show up, give them a really good solid invite, or you can get them on the information that we have. As you guys have seen, we've been breaking up the presentations into bite-sized pieces where they got the whole entire full presentation if they want it. Then they have a section of the presentation which is just Algo Alpha. And then you have a section of the presentation which is just building the community and people who are builders. And then you have a piece of the presentation that's just the money and how we get started. And so when the person, depending on where you're at in your conversation with individuals, you can basically take one of those links and just send it to somebody. So if you say you're a person who is really good at communicating with people, getting people, on Zooms and saying, "Hey, look, I'm just going to press the button and watch, and we're going to watch this thing together." Well, guess what? They can watch the whole entire presentation with you now, as they always have been, and then you just put them on a freeway. Now they've seen the presentation, or you've had a really good conversation with them, and one that you've gone over everything thoroughly. But you know, you want to go ahead and show them how to get started. Hey, there it is, one-on-one. You did your one-on-one. Send them that video, the getting started video, the packages, and watch that with them. Right? Somebody who wants to build and they really want to see how big this thing can be. Send them that video. Right? And then you just pick and choose whatever you need. And so we've always used sizzle videos, in the past, and I want to get to having, shorter, more dynamic tools that we can utilize. And depending on the process that we're in with different people. So those of you who've actually seen it, again, when you've seen it and when it comes time for you to talk, definitely let me know what you think about it. So, but what I will do is I will go ahead and pause the announcements and jump into some reflections of the week and the week that was. So let's go ahead and get, let's see here. Carla is first. Let's go ahead and go with Carla.
Great morning, and thank you for the platform and for allowing me to share. Three things I wanted to talk about. Mr. Pacheco talked about moving from being a participant to becoming a producer, and he spoke extensively about the 5 levels of growth that I get to enhance, and where am I on that spectrum. That's that was the first two, and then also the challenge that you gave me, Mr. Bean, on Thursday during Walk and Talk, in terms of my event on campus that we had with the students and the employers. I made over 10,000 steps. It's been a while since I've seen 10,000 steps. I've been hovering somewhere between 6 and 8,500 steps over the course of the weeks. And also, you know, the challenges that I have experienced with the 30 with the whole 30 this week. There were a couple of days that, well, anyhow, we'll talk about that on Walk and Talk. But it's a growth experience, and I know that there are some things that we learn about forgiving ourselves um, for foods that we eat that we know we shouldn't eat. So I'll just say that. Thank you so much for allowing me to share.
There you go. No problem. No problem at all. And you definitely right now. This is an opportunity for everybody to be producers. Okay. And even being a participant, not just when you talk about a participant, you can just be a participant in the company and you can participate and just show up. But when you're producing, it's a whole entirely different thing. Right? Now your rescue, your financial um, renovation, participating in that, that's being active and being there, present for that. That's important. And so a lot of people have to just hit that button. They have to get out of the activity mode and get into the productivity mode, right? And so let's make it count. Don't just make the shot, make it count, right? And so don't just chunk it up there at the bucket. Make sure you actually go out there and learn how to make sure that actually goes into the bucket. And so that's very, very important. So those steps, but like I said, give yourself a daily challenge, right? Which is where the college campus thing came from. And so like we're not situational people, right? So if we are living a purpose-driven life and we have things that we need to do on purpose, for our health and wellness, yeah, we need to be purpose-driven, not situational. So if any situation could pop up and say, hey, um, we can eat today, it's good, and that's like it's fine if it's like once a month or once a week, you know. But if you can have that conversation with yourself, and you just started dieting 3 days ago, or you just started fasting 3 days ago, and you made it 3 days doing a 16-8, you still eating 2 meals a day, and you did good, and say, you know what, I did good for them 3 days. I think I'm gonna go ahead and, yeah, you're not ready for that, right? You got to go ahead and you got to earn the right to eat, what you want to eat. You got to earn the right to drink what you want to drink. All right. And that's the thing that you stacking up these days for a reason, right? You're compounding those wins. Those are wins. That's momentum, right? Every day that you do exactly what you set out to do, guys, and you hit your goals and you are really making things happen. You recondition yourself. Those are momentum builders. Those are things that put you in a position where you stop actually having those conversations with yourself. As a matter of fact, they become far and few in between. Right. So just keep on stacking those wins. Continue to go out there and make it a day-to-day thing and win a day. Just win the day. Like when I talked about, we were talking about yoga, and I was talking about the Bikram yoga, and the hot room, right? The 110-degree room where you're doing yoga in that room, and they tell you, man, don't worry about stretching around here like 85 pounds and you've been doing this your whole entire life. Man, just sit there and in the Indian style and namaste style and beat the room. If that's all you could do when you first get up in there is just beat the room. Just sit up in the Indian style and breathe while everybody else is stretching. All right. Just stay in the room. If you stay in the room, the next time you come in the room, you'll actually start doing some stretches and it won't be as bad. So just stay in the mode, of winning the day and making sure that you hit those daily goals, and make sure your accountability team is in full effect as well. That's one thing about it. I'm always, like I said, now you see Jared calling me or I call him, and I reach out to other people from time to time as well who are accountability partners for me as well, vice versa, and just find out how they doing, what they if they're having any challenges with anything, or what they falling short on, or you know or what their weak moments look and feel like, and so we can have those conversations. And so I'm excited about that. But it's coming. You're in the right environment. We talked about that. You're in the right environment. It's going to happen. It has to happen. You just got to make sure that you make it happen every day. Because every day counts. Every day matters, and you just go win the day. All right. All right, Laura. Yes, ma'am.
Great morning, family, Mr. Bean. Yeah, so
Sexy
listen, I'm
senior. Go ahead, Doc.
your sassy seniors in the house, man. I am just so super excited about the opportunity that our March Madness promo has opened up for us. I'm
Mhm.
just excited that we have the chance to share with people that they can get alpha goal at the elite level. I mean, that is such a privilege. And
Mhm.
then I am grateful for the short videos that you did, because I run into a lot of people that just don't have a lot of patience, and they're just not ready to spend the time where the true value is. So by having these short videos, it allows me to have a focused conversation with them. Like I had a gentleman on the full presentation, and at the end, when I followed up and asked him what he liked best, it was, well, I don't really want to learn the trade. Well, you don't have to learn the trade. You can use the tools that we have. So now I've sent him the alpha goal portion. And I said, this is what I want you to focus on. And he said, okay, let's have a conversation. So those videos are hot. And then the thing I want to really bring out is that we are whole people. We everything affects all of us. And so, the energy and the power that we're receiving from walk and talk, it's just coordinating with how we feel about ourselves, how we then behave. So my outreach has increased, right? My outreach has increased. Social media, I did a live the other day before your Tuesday presentation. It was just 1.5 minutes. And I just said, hey, listen, if anybody wants something different in your life and you're afraid, just jump on. And I got a person on. And then, hey, listen, we have to take advantage of everything that's out there. So, hey, what's happening in the world right now? We're on the verge of World War III. But how is that impacting us in our households? Energy prices are going up. Gas prices are going up. So I just did a post yesterday or the day before yesterday on, hey, listen, now you have a fourth reason to go solar, because if you want to save on energy, it ain't going to stop going up. And once it goes up, it's not coming down. So I posted that and I threw that out there. One of my team members, she just got a bill. She just got a bill. And she was like so excited. So, the energy that I'm exuding is permeating through my team. And I hope it permeates through my team, because Mr. Bean, you always told us to love them enough to leave them. So I put my team on notice. I'm loving you enough to leave you. So thank you
There
for
you go.
allowing me to share, sir. I'm going back on mute.
There you go. There you go. Yeah, no, we ain't dragging nobody to the finish line. That's not what we're gonna do. All right, we're gonna make sure we influence you to the to with the being a prototype to get you to the finish line. But yeah, that right now, like I said, when you look at the community, guys, we talked about it last week, on the call, and I did that segment. I really wanted you guys to understand that segment that I did, and you see how I worked it into the presentation, with Jim Simons. All right. And so you have to know, who your forefathers were when it comes to this, what we do when it comes to Algo Alpha, and, how it was unique, and how people made a fortune off of it, and how people are so unaware of it. And it's been around for ages. You know what I'm saying? So it's now getting popular on a retail perspective, on a retail level, where it's out there for the masses, and this is just happening over the last couple of years, 2, 3 years, where it's gotten popular, right? So it's not that it's new. It's not new. It's nowhere close to being new. Like I said, Jim Simon's been doing. He did it and mastered it, in '88, right? And so you were here, right? So somebody knew about it. They did $7 billion a month, right? So, and they only had 300 people working at the company when they did it, right? But the thing about it is, look, the people who worked at the company, all those people who had funds, with the company, they averaged 50 million in their portfolio, right? That's crazy. Imagine being at a company and taking the advice of the actual owner and CEO, and being able to build something, like that while you're working there. This man was worth $23 billion, I think, before he passed away, right? Based on how he built his community, and how he then turned, at the same time, turned around and was taking his profits and putting a lion's share of his profits in his own portfolios and his own fund. Right. And so that's the thing. We have to learn, right now, as we're monitoring and mastering, the gold alpha, and that whole entire algo gold, that once we master that right there, once we see that thing going and we start to see that thing hit and continue to progress in the positive, and also make sure everybody's got their stop losses set, and make sure their protection is correct. Is correct, because I've had people who they sent me screenshots of their protection, and it said 20% protected, and you know what? I'm like, hey, look, we need to change that, to 80%, right? And so, because mine was at 20%. And I ended up having somebody, a major Cephas, on the team, he's like, hey, look, he said, because I did mine while I was driving, and I did it, I'm looking at the video, and I couldn't see the numbers on the video on the cell phone, when Laura sent me the message. And so, I put 20 in there because I heard him say 20, but when it said 20 in protection, but I didn't see him type in 80. I thought he typed in 20 because it happened at the same time he was communicating. So, but that's good when you have eyes and people who are following instructions. And I'm like, hey, yeah, let me check that, verify that. Boom. Go back to the video now. I can see it on my laptop and a big as day, clear as day, 80%. Type that in, boom, lock it in. But great. So now I got the layer of protection that I need. So now I need that layer of production, right? So I can that's the only piece of the puzzle. Consistently producing, right? And so as that happens, as you see, when you start posting those wins, you start posting those trading days, you see what happens. Everybody gets excited about that, and it starts to move. People really start to um, sizzle, like that. It's kind of like when you're in a restaurant and you hear that sizzling and that popping. It's that steak coming around the corner, right? That's that sizzle. That's what make that steak. People want to make. I need to get me a steak. I ain't made my order yet. I'm changing from the chicken to the steak. I want chicken don't pop like that, right? And so they be selling it. So that's what's going to be selling it. That's going to be the sizzle, for your portfolio, for your community, But also, I'm telling you right now, guys, do not. For those of you who are trading, don't stop trading. I don't care how good the money gets, on anything that we have that we offer. Make sure you are continuing to trade, right? Because I'm seeing wins, like Donnie's doing this thing. I'm seeing the people who are doing it with Donnie. You know, just getting numbers daily, and I'm excited about that because what he's teaching is working. Yeah, and so make sure you guys are there. But also, like I said, go live as much as you can, as many times as you can. Find reasons to go live. Don't find reasons not to. Successful people always find reasons to do something that's uncomfortable to them. Unsuccessful people always find a reason not to do it. Right? If you know a presentation is coming up, there's a reason. If you know an event's coming up, there's a reason. All right. You find yourself a reason, or you create yourself a reason. All right. And so give yourself a challenge. Well, you know what? I'm gonna do a live at least 3 times a week. And some Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, I'm gonna do a live. I'm gonna just go live and talk about something, or I'm gonna do it once a week on Mondays, right? Or I'll have a blog day on Mondays or whatever you do. Just figure it out. And then that way you can make sure that you got people's attention because the videos are what's moving the algorithm right now. So even if it's just like Laura says, hey, guys, let me share some with you. I have a 7-minute video, or I have a 6-minute video, 7-minute video about, how successful people, and very, very wealthy people are building their investment portfolios today versus what they did yesterday, right? And so when you look at what we did yesterday, is we relied on stuff like the Dow Jones, the S&P 500. We relied on stuff that gave us on a generous level 10 to 15% per year. Okay. But if you want to know what, investors and savvy investors and successful investors and wealthy investors are doing today that's putting 40 to 50, they're doing because it's putting 40 to 50% per year in their portfolios, guys, watch this video. Just send me or just type in, send me a video, right? And so that way you kind of get some traction, get some feedback. People or y'all see me do it, type me, send me the video or whatever it is. And I have people all through that post sending me stuff. When I did it, when I did the night that we did the Zoom for Walk and Talk, right? And I just like how I lost 28 pounds. And I'm like, hey, if you want to know more about it, just type me in there. And just getting that interaction, people want to know more about it. People want to hear about it. And it wasn't the people that I thought. It was people who I did not expect, but they were people who've been on my page in my own, just watching my stuff, just never saying anything. I say they're always lurking, not liking. Right? They don't want to leave a trace. I don't want you to know that they've been there. So go live as much as you can and make it count. Don't. I didn't say make it great. I just said make it count. All right. Let's see here. Thank you, Laura. Appreciate that. Tim.
Hey, Mr. Bean, good morning. Morning.
Good morning, sir. Good morning.
Hey, Foresight family, how you doing? Good, good.
Fantastic.
And you dropping so much stuff. I keep saying I'm gonna say something, but then you say something else. I say, oh, I'm gonna talk about that. No, I'm gonna talk about that. But yeah, and you're right. Actually putting information out there. I had a gentleman that reached out to me this week. Actually a real estate agent I hadn't talked to in years. And then he reached out to me just because of my post saying, hey, Tim, I'm an options trader, you know. Interested, let me know when the next event is coming up. And I sent it to him. And last night, like 11 o'clock last night, he hit me up and said, hey, I'm gonna get on the call and I'm gonna send this to my wife to get on the call as well. So,
Mm.
I know he's an option trader, but I'm excited about this that the Algo Go. I actually did presentations this week, and actually in my new presentation, I added some of the screenshots I heard from that I had from early in the month with the Algo Go. And man, doing that and then also sharing, putting numbers in the compound calculator so people can see, okay, this is the percentage per month, what that's looking like compound. And so even got a lot of people excited about it, even that's on the team that's kind of been dormant, kind of on the fence. And then once I shared that to them, and their eyes lit up like, hey, we got to get a part of this. So been
Mhm.
definitely sharing that in my presentation, screenshots, what it looks like. And then even some of the team that's doing manually trading, I'm manually trading too, what it looks like with the algo trading, what it looks like with individual with our trading academy and those things. So really just trying to add context to my presentation. And yesterday I was actually having some calls. I was on a live meeting with some folks, and I like what you always talk about is, you know, ask, ask, asking, good questions. So just talking to folks and finding out, you know, kind of what their business is and then what's really their goal. And I talked to a gentleman that was someone, he's a consulting business, and, he created curriculum, but his main thing, he says, I'm looking for investors. I said, well, looking for investors, how much you looking to get? He said at least about 50,000 to 100,000. I'm just getting started. I said, well, let's have a conversation. Let's see how we can make that happen. So instead of just trying to push what I had on him, I said, let's have a conversation. So me and him going to talk, and I can go through the calculator and kind of show him how he can raise that money himself instead of waiting on the fence for an investor to come. And another gentleman I was talking to, he was in just started in the healthcare, health insurance. And but as we started to have more dialogue, I was asking him deeper questions. What's his, what does he want to take his business? Why is he doing healthcare? How did he get into it? He started saying, hey, it was just something that he was just really looking to generate some income. That was his main thing. He had his dad had a business. His business didn't pivot because he was a painting business and he didn't want to take it over, but he wanted to do something that his family could be proud of. So I said, hey, I might have an opportunity for you. Talk to him a little bit about what we do. He's excited. So me and him have another conversation. And then one more gentleman, kind of same situation. He started a consulting business. He said, one thing, I got to make profits first in my business. I did DoorDash, I did this, that, and the other. I did mortgages, just trying to find a way to generate more money for me and my family to be successful. I said, hey, I think I might have something for you. Let's have a conversation and I go through some things. So really just finding out beyond just coming at them straight, this is what I have. Let me find out what they have that they're trying to accomplish, trying to provide a solution with our trading academy, with the algorithms. Because at the end of the day, I told people, they asked me what I do. I said, help people make money. I said, why is that? I said, because it ranks right up there with oxygen. I know we always heard that. Those are two things that everybody needs. So really, I'm just kind of, talking to people, asking right questions, and then seeing how Algo and our trading academy and the things that we do here at Bill could be a solution to help them with that problem that they have. So with that, turn it back over to you, sir.
No problem. And well, first of all, congratulations for doing your own presentations out. It's like people forgot that they can do that. It's like people forgot that they in business, man, and people stop doing presentations for themselves, man. I'm telling you that's you got to keep on doing those presentations. You got to get in there and get those reps in, because your presentation muscle, if it gets weak, man, I'm telling you, it gets flabby, and it's just like, man, you look, it's out of shape, and people can tell when you start to do it again. So make sure you keep those reps in, guys. Make sure you guys are getting it in. But that crystal ball is very, very powerful. Again, that's one tool, a third party tool that you can use. And, you can use it and you can be very, very passive with it, non-aggressive. And then, give some immediate numbers. I wouldn't give any crazy numbers, that people, one, that we cannot guarantee, but two, that people can't believe. Right. And so that's why, while you're out here showing um, your own screenshots, right? Because remember, your screenshot is your tool.
Mm-hmm.
That's your presentation for the most part, right? That's the thing that piques the interest to get them to the presentation, all right? Because some people it's just that's the actual presentation, all right? You don't need a man. Okay, well, you ready to go? But before you get started, let me go ahead and put you on this 35-minute presentation, this 45-minute presentation. No, they're ready to get started now because they saw the presentation, right? That which is the screenshot. Right. So that's the tool, right? So when you look at but that second tool though, like, hey, look, that crystal ball, and that crystal ball only means something, when it comes, when I'm saying the compound calculator, for those of you who don't know what the crystal ball is, that compound calculator, that crystal ball, aka the crystal ball, it only means something to somebody who, has a reason, to need it. Right. And so that's why the questions that you're asking people are very, very important. Like, I'm asking people all the time. So what ways are you using right now to make extra income? Right? What are your diversification methods right now? What are you using to diversify? Right? So you'll be amazed at how many people are doing stuff that is not directly connected to what they do for a living and what they went to school for. All right. And you want to make sure you identify those things because yeah, and just ask me a question. So how does it make you feel to have to DoorDash when you went to school 4 years, boom, 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 and how does it make you feel to have to DoorDash, right? Or have to Uber, you know, um, I know you're a people person, you like meeting people, stuff like that. That's cool, but would you do it if you didn't have to? Would you get up and drive people around the city in your car, strangers you don't know, if you didn't have to, if you were financially situated, right? No, I wouldn't. Okay. All right. So let them resonate with that. Okay. So how would you like for you to help you get yourself up out of Uber? Okay. And I'll even show you how to use Uber to get you up out of Uber. Right. And so make a person connect with that emotion that puts them in a position where like, man, I really don't want to be an Uber. I didn't even think about it like that. Matter of fact, I've been doing Uber so long that it's like breathing. It's like second nature. It's like it's like my main job, but it's my second job. So it's just something that they have to do and they don't think about it. They don't, dude, we can't get you an exit strategy for your main job until we get you an exit strategy for Uber first, right? They gotta get rid of the side job, the first job, the part-time job first, before we can go actually work with the main one. So ask them, what do you need the money for? Like right now, what is it that you need the most that finance that money can actually solve for you? And so try to figure out what they need the money for, because that's what you're going to build your presentation around, satisfying that need. Remember, you're the guide, they're the hero, right? And the hero is not the person you want to be in the story. You want to be the guide. The hero is a person that's, it's like I said, either the weakest or the second weakest person in the story. That's the person that has a problem that they don't know how to solve, and you can actually solve it for them or with them, help them solve it because you solved it first before for yourself. And that's the thing. You're in a current state of succeeding as well if you're on the gold alpha trading platform, or you're building community, or you have solar on your home, or you have traveled the world using Aventi, or whatever, or you learn how to trade, with Donnie and JCL, or whatever it is, you're the guy, you're the person that's leading them and spoon feeding them the information they need and leading them to that point where they take over and say, you know what, I can do this. You taught me. I appreciate it. Now I'm gonna go out here and do my thing. And they change their life and they become the hero, the celebrated one. So But that's important. But ask those questions, guys. Let people know I can show you how to create your own capital, right? And we create that, we get that started one or two ways. We can get it started immediately from resources that you have available to you right now, financially in different places, banks and stuff like that. Or, if that's not available to you, then we just got to roll up our sleeves and do it the good old fashioned way and build it, work it. We make enough money exposing people to the business. They come on board. We take the money from the tuitions, commissions, and we put that in the system. Right. But we cannot not put money into Algo Alpha, and tell people that, hey, this is what you should be doing. Okay. They're not your guinea. It's like they're not your guinea pigs. One, two, you don't use people to make money off of, right? You use their stories. The money that you get, as the money that you get from signing somebody up, that's cool. You have access to those funds and revenues to use what you want to use those revenues for, but it's the stories that you're looking for. So when the person get the big money comes from the stories. You just got a commission. The big money, the lifetime and the security comes from you creating, you know, a resume of different people who like when I start to really focus on um walk and talk, wealth and health. When I really get a chance to focus on this, and I start using this on a high level and on a more extensive level as a platform that I'm going to be using to recruit, using to help me expose people. Trust me, there are going to be so many people in walk and talk where they're going to be like, hey, look, you know what? You can use my before and after photo, right? You can use my story on how I didn't, want to lose weight, but I end up losing 10 pounds anyway, like Toya, right? And so, or like JD, or, but it's going to be some before and after photos. It's going to be some testimonials and stories. And it's going to be a lot of, Tim's of the world where he didn't believe that he could do a 72-hour fast. But not only did he do a 72-hour fast, before he did the 72 hours fast, he did push-ups in his suit at a restaurant. You know what I'm saying? So, you know what I'm saying? So, but it's going to be a lot of those testimonials, right, that I'm going to use to validate what I'm moving, what I'm selling, what I'm building, right? And so people are going to come in based on all of that. Jared and 22 pounds, right? Kendra and whatever it is that she lost, right? Whatever it is, we have people who are in that group lose weight. And those resources are going to be, as far as like the resources. When I mean resources, those stories and testimonials are going to be used, right? So, but that's the get that people know we got what you need. You just got to be who you need to be at the moment, right? You need to be the person who's willing to build it or willing to fund it. One of the two, if not both. Thanks, Tim. All right, Dr. Felicia.
Thank you, Ms. B.
Mhm.
Good morning, everybody.
Hey,
We
good
did have
morning.
our walk and talk this morning, and I just wanted to share something with everybody because from the walk and talk, because a lot of people are not here, I didn't know that was meaningful. After my mom had her surgery, she had blood clots that moved from her leg up to her lungs, and it's all because when she left the hospital, she went to bed, and she said that she stayed there because I know I went there one week and she was real active, and the next week I went to find out why she wasn't active, and then had to end up calling the ambulance to pick her up. But her lungs were covered with 90% of blood clots. So I just want to tell people you got to move once you get home from surgery. You also, and I mean not that day, you got to keep moving the next day, and so you got to get up often. But the other thing that I want to say too, even on airlines with long rides, you got to move. Get up and walk, and also wear compression socks and walk. The other thing is if you're on a long car ride, don't try to get there in 8 hours without getting out the car. Your body needs to get out and stretch. So the same thing with that. And I just wanted to lead that from the walk and talk this morning. But the next thing that I wanted to talk about is keeping up my IPAs. Is that what you call it?
Income producing activities.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So I've been keeping up with that, and what that has helped me to reach out with people. And I noticed that my conversation is smoother, talking to them and feeling confident in what I say. And then after I got through with that first call, I was like, did I do that? You know, because it's getting easier now. And so I just want to make a difference in people's lives. So that's what I wanted to say. And I will go back on mute.
No problem. And it starts with you making a difference in yours. That's the thing, guys. Like you start to see that moment, like man, when you start to change, when things around you start to change because things in you start to change, right? The people in your group start to change. The people you attract start to change. People who, just like when I'm moving around, it was guys. It was like last night I played a little poker, and um, when I say I'm sitting at a table, between two guys, and they were longtime friends, but one was just razzing the other one for being overweight, right? And poker games are brutal because they are really friends, and they really they really go in on each other depending on what rooms you're in. And so I'm just like, man, um, one of the guys was like, one of the other guys was like, well, this guy here is obviously fit, and I'm like, he's talking about me, and I'm like, you know. Yeah, I am. Yeah, without saying it, what I mean, it's just like, yeah, you know, uh, I had that beacon of light above my head, like, looking good in my clothes and feeling confident, stuff like that. So, but it also helped with my in other areas, like my poker play and stuff like that. And just, even though I'm not a big poker player, like I don't play every week or every month, this once in a lifetime thing is just, I mean, like once in a while thing, but just being in there and being confident in one area, like bringing that confidence into another one. Because people can smell weakness. They can sense it. They can sense fear, low self-esteem, all that good stuff. They can sense it. They can feel it. They can smell it. And so the better you are when it comes to your appearance, the better you are when it comes to, you know, uh, your health, right? It'll exude out in your conversation. And people will literally say, man, there's something different about you, even if they don't like, even my buddy Mark, I was on a phone yesterday with him and on the way to my chiropractic appointment. And he's like, there's something different about you. So he's the sound more relieved, a little more relaxed, more calm, more. I said, yeah, man, it's just, right now I've been fasting, for the last 60 days, I've been doing this, I've been doing that. And he said, man, it sounds good on you. He said, yeah, I just knew it was something different about you. And so, people can tell the difference. And this is just over the phone, in our general conversation. So keep on getting better, Doc. Keep on doing your thing. Keep on learning. Keep on growing. Keep on having these conversations. And that won't be the last time you ask yourself, did I do that? It's gonna be, and one day you're gonna wake up and look at it and it's like, man, that's my build to 8,000 conversation right there. I had a conversation. I was doing a presentation in Kirbyville when we was doing coffee, and I was an emerald at that time, and I think it was making about 15 grand a month. And so I was looking forward to getting to Diamond because I know Diamond, when I got to Diamond, it's going to be about 20, 25 grand a month. And so we did a presentation at the end of the month, and it was a church full of people. And the presentation was so good. People it was like getting up, and I thought they was walking out, but they was walking out into the hallway to sign up and get their position with the pastor of the church. And like he's, pastors do everything they want to do, right? They don't do nothing the way you instruct them to do. They do everything they want to do, right? So he was telling people, calling people out to the hallway, texting them and on their cell phone saying, hey, if you want to go ahead and get this position before X, Y, and Z, you need to come out here and sign up. And so, but that's what they were doing, literally. And but when me and my guy was on the way back home from Kirbyville to Houston, my boy Tyron, and he was like, "Man, that was a cold presentation." I said, "Yeah, no, that was my diamond presentation right there. That was my diamond moment. That's when I know for a fact that when those words came out of my mouth, they made a difference, and that's when I knew I had that power, and I didn't have to have somebody had that presentation for me, never ever again, So yeah, keep on having those conversations because your conversations are micro presentations, right? And so You don't have to always be talking about the business. You just be giving, you are, because you are the business, you are the presentation. So just having a conversation with somebody um, does it for you. And I even, like, one of the guys I was talking about, talking to, I've been, trying to get him. I did business with him in the past. I hit him up last night and yesterday rather, about about our offer and building a community, because he's a builder. He's from Ghana, and but he lives in Florida. And this conversation was really unique to me and exciting for me, because just, I don't have a problem taking anything away, but I took it away from him so fast because he asked me, so what's the difference between this and that? I said, first of all, they're two totally different things, but I'm not here to compare. Either you like what we have or you don't. It's not fair. It's not for everybody. Okay. And so gone are the days. And that's what I told him. I said, gone are the days where I'm competing with anybody outside of these walls. I said, so I personally do want something long term, something solid, something they can build, something they can make a lot of money in and make a big difference in, or they want to go out there and gamble. Go gamble. That's kind of how I told him. I was like, this, that's what you want. I mean, I get it. Knock yourself out, but and that's available to you. It's going to be available to you all over the world for the rest of your days. Somebody's always going to have something that's going to have a rug pull feel to it, right? So we're not going to be looking over our shoulders, right? We're not gonna, that's not what we're going to be doing. So I'll send you the videos, and that's what I sent him all the videos because he's a builder. So I sent him all the videos, the presentation, that little video chart that Omi put into the group the other day, every last one of them, and I left him on red. Boom, stop. But I got a hard stop. I got to go because I got some things we got to do. Headed to an event. Yeah, I'm like, yeah, I get it. You're a big builder. You done made some serious money. Multiple six figures in a month. That's great, but this is what we're doing. This is who we are. This is what we have. And, like it or you don't like it. Either way, this is what it's doing. So you got something that's doing better than 27% a month. Yeah, man, look, introduce me to it. If it's legal, ethical, and moral, I'll take a good look at it. Right. But if it's a network marketing company, I'm not. So just keep that in your mind. So that these are this things that you start to have, the more and more you have conversations, one with yourself, and then have conversations with other people, right? That confidence is going to come out into your conversations. It's time for y'all to get fed up, all right, and sick and tired of people wanting you to compare your company to other people's companies, wanting you to prove, this, that, and other, why it's different. No, I'm not going to sell you on anything except for, something different. We're just different. We move different. We are different. This vision that we have is different. It's solid. It's working. You either want to be a part of it or you don't. So appreciate that. Toya, let's go. And I'm glad
Great
y'all
morning,
had
great
y'all's day this
morning.
morning, Dr. Felicia. Y'all keep it going. Keep it going on Saturdays. I'll keep on going. I might not be there, but keep it going. All right, that's all. You go ahead. Sorry about that.
Great. That's okay, sir. Great morning, everyone. Great morning, Mr. Bean. I'm in my car. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, ma'am. Loud and clear.
Okay. I'm on my way to a funeral this morning, but I did not want to miss this call. I just wanted to share, first and foremost, from Walk and Talk this morning. Dr. Felicia did a phenomenal job of facilitating the call. There was a lot of dead air, but I think it was because people were having challenges with getting their microphone on. So she worked that thing out. She made us show up. She called names out, Mr. Bean. So she did a phenomenal job on that. But I wanted to share here what I was able to share. We were just a small group this morning. So I wanted to share my experience
Ain't
with
no small
onboarding.
groups. Ain't no small groups.
I
Groups
stand corrected, sir.
groups are big groups. Every group is a big group.
I stand corrected.
There
Excuse
you
me.
go.
Thank you for that correction. Moving on. I just wanted to share here what I was able to share with the group on Walk and Talk this morning in regards to Dennis, who we onboarded last night, someone that Cameron knew when he was in South Carolina. He is really at his wit's end with the job that he's been working. But he's so not tech savvy that he got frustrated with just going back and forth from the Build Networks website to getting the code to reset his password. We ran into so many challenges to the point where he was just like, you know what, I can't do this. I really want to start this trading. I need a change, but I can't do this. I don't know how to do it. And I said, okay, what I'm gonna need you to do is woosah. I need you to stop, get out your head. You just told me you need this because you've never worked with your brain. You've always worked with your hands. You just told me how they've been treating you on your job. I used everything he told me back to him. And I said, so what we're not going to do is quit. We're not going to quit. You called me for a reason. And so he was like, thank you so much, Miss Latoya. I appreciate, you kind of helping me get myself together. And we moved on. And so then he wanted to start a conversation. I said, okay, before you get your conversation out, we're going to finish this process.
He will conversate. He will conversate.
Yes, he's very talkative. But Mr. Bean, by the time we got to the end, just to make a long story short, he got emotional because he said he's never had people care about him like this. He talked about being on the walk and talk and how he had the three-way with you and just how this community will love on you. And I said, well, we mean what we say. There's a lot of people being taken advantage of in this space. Yeah. So no, I know who I have in leadership in this company. So I know it's my mission to bring people to this environment. I know they'll be in good hands. I know they'll be taken care of. And we do have a culture that you won't find on any other platform. And I know that for a fact. I don't have to be on the platform to know. I've been out there long enough to compare what we have to other spaces. I've been in the other spaces and they do not care for you like you are cared for in this community. So he's excited. He went direct, immediately into the training last night. So I'm excited to follow up with him so that we can get him going and get him profitable. And he's already talking about starting his algo. That's also my mission. I'm the algo queen. I mean to be an asset creator. I love it. I'm excited. And I'm going to stop talking right now so that you can have the platforms back, sir. Thank you so much for allowing me to share.
No problem. Well, so I guess you found your new ministry, the Algo Queen. That's
yes,
what I'm
sir.
talking about. That's what your purpose is. I'm telling you, because when you're walking into that, that's who you become. You start speaking it, you start walking into it, you start doing your thing, and especially in an environment that's conducive to that becoming a reality, it happens. It's not if it happens, it's when it happens. And that's going to be based on you and your muscle. You're doing your thing. So it's already in there. They already putting it in the Algo Queen. They already putting it in there. So they're giving it life already, right? But when you look at Dennis, look at the process. He went from talking to Cam and Cam doing his exposure to talking to you and then talking to me, and then they get started in the Algo Alpha or anything like that. No trading, no nothing. But he jumped into the group, the Walk and Talk, Wealth and Health group. Now he was in there, for some days. He did some talking in there too, right? And so, but the fact of the matter is, he was in there and he wasn't in the business, right? And he got a chance to really see and hear, how people connect and how people are getting help and how people are being treated as human beings, and as not as employees. So that's a part of that process when we talk about that booking a meeting from a meeting, putting a person in a different environment. And now people get a chance to see how we move, how we behave, how we treat people, how we lead, how we mentor, how we coach, right? They get a chance to see all of that. And so that's what they say, you know what, man, I got a chance to test drive this thing. I got a chance to kick the tires and see what's up under the hood. Now I'm ready to go. I fell in love with it because when I did the test drive, I was driving to the left. When I made that left turn, the seats hugged me. When I made that right turn, the seats hugged me. When I went straight, they let me go. So I drove in circles, right? Enough to where I kept getting hugged enough till I went on and bought the car. He bought the car. All right. And so, hey, That sticker shock hit him though with the technology. That's what I call sticker shock. That technology. Yeah, he was like, yeah, I don't know if I want to pay this price. That's a little steep because I ain't used to computers and stuff like that. So yeah, but you got him through it. You walked him through it, and again, that's a testament to you giving him back, feeding him back what he gave you. Were you serious when you said X, Y, and Z, or were you just playing? Uh, were you serious saying this is you want to really work your way out of there, or you want to stay there for another 10, 15, 20 years? You know, just let me know. I'm just here to help. If you, I can help you with your small goals. I can help you with your big goals. You just let me know if you want to shrink your goals and stay at work, make a little extra money. You know, for longer than you expected. That's fine. For me, I mean, because that's your dream, that's your goal, that's your want, that's your desire. So give it back to him always, 100% of the time. But you can't give it back to him if you never wrote it down. Yeah, you can't give it back to him if you never asked the question. All right. So I said, ask the questions and give it back to them and let them answer you. Don't give them the question and the answer. Because some of you will say, well, I know you don't want to stay on your job, do you? And I know you tired. You said, yeah, I know you're sick and tired of being on your job. I know you're sick and tired of taking orders. I know you know, yeah, you gotta do this because now you're begging. Say, you know what, Jim, I know you like, working at X, Y, and Z, boom, boom. You know, maybe that's what you want to do for the next 20 years of your life. I don't know. I may be wrong, but you told me you wanted to be done this year, but it seems to me like you got, enough in you, the way you seem like you're on a path to stay there another 10, 15 years based on what you're doing here with us. Right. When people are not doing what they agreed to do to save their life, you have the ability as their coach to get them back on track. You have the ability as a coach to have a counseling session with them and a mentoring moment with them. If they're not in the business, again, that person needs you more than ever, right? And so the person comes to the hospital, know they're sick, and you looking at that person, and you know for a fact that person is not fit to be out there on the streets, but they turn around and say, you know what? I know I checked in, I know I was sitting on the bed, I know y'all had the IV hooked up to me, but I'm just gonna take all this out and walk out. He's like, nah, we're not gonna do that. You won't make it out the hospital, and you won't make 15 feet out them doors, right? Before you pass out or pass away. Right. So no, you sit down here and let's talk about what happens if you walk out this hospital, right? You're not gonna live. So you want to put that, back on a person and just make sure that understand that goal that they had, that dream that they had has no life when it comes to them not doing what they're supposed to do. There's a part that they must play in this situation. You can't be a victorious victim. Just again, just you're going to be, if you're going to be victorious, you're the hero. All right. And so the hero has to go through the peaks and valleys. All right. Victims stay in the valleys. You can't win from the valley. Okay. So we gotta get people to the mountaintop, right? So that's extremely, extremely important. So continue to use their goals, their dreams, to get them to participate and then produce. All right. So appreciate it, Toya. All right, let's see here. So also, Mrs. Bean sent me a message saying, don't forget about, the promotion guys that earn your 10, get your 10, right? Get your 10, right? Make sure you get your brand new 10. That way you be the ones who can actually earn that time, that special story creation time, that mentoring time, okay, and make sure that you build up a brand where you guys are out here shine light on the Forsyth family. We want to make sure that resume is being built. I want to make sure that they see every time somebody walks across that stage, every time somebody is being a presenter, every time somebody's serving the big team, every time somebody's testimony is being used, you want to make sure that you're the beacon of the light, for that. And so now they can help you build your community, right? Because again, what you're going to see, guys, when you actually are the person who's out there making things happen, Some of you guys have witnessed it. Some of you guys have seen it. Some of you guys have experienced it. When you're launching a company or launching a group, and you start getting that momentum, people start saying your name a lot more in the company. And the more and more people say your name in the company, the more and more impact it has on your personal business. All right. Think about it. Mr. Pacheco, he says on his conversation on Monday night, well, maybe if it had something to do with barking out orders, like JD, right? And JD's, first sergeant voice, that he used in Vegas, and so you'd have to be there, to have had that experience. And so JD was like a drill sergeant up in there, but he put his old military fatigues on, right? We couldn't see him, but he had him up under his suit. but Mr. Pacheco said his name, right? And so when you have the people from the company, the owners and stuff using your name, using your testimonials, using your stories, um, that builds your business. That helps you it gives you credibility. And when you have guests on big calls and big, presentations and people using, like say if I use your name in a presentation, like when I get to the part about parents who trade with their children, right? And I talk about Toya and Cameron, and then, oh, by the way, her daughter's an investor, right? In college, while she's in college. I'll talk about Dale and Dale John, I talk about Iggy and his daughter, right? And so, just talk about, if I know the story, right? If you have a story and I know the story, then I can use the story, right? But if I don't know the story, I can't use it at all. And JC can't use it. Mr. Pacheco can't use it, right? But if we are building and now all of a sudden you hit build a 250 and all of a sudden now you just didn't hit build a 250, you have somebody else go build a 250. So you basically hit build a 700, right? Then you hit build a 1500 and all of a sudden you're on your way to build a 3500. By the time you get to build a 35, well, when you're on the way to get to build a 3500, you and your team will have so many people on these events that now every time somebody is saying something about a producer, your name is at the top of the list. Okay. Like even the people who were not on my team, like when it came to Matt and Roxy, when I was working with them and they were growing their team, right? And they were blowing their team up and they were doing this, doing that. I was always saying their name. And their team was always feeding into that. And to the point to where even the ownership started feeding into it as well and said, man, look, Matt and Roxy, them, they fired up. They got this thing rocking and rolling. We need to make sure we put more and more behind them because they are here in California with us, and we can actually now show them more love, put more energy on, and they did. They put more energy and love and resources behind them because they were moving. Okay, so you hear Mr. Pacheco use Tim, and um, Tim and his wife all the time, Erica, all the time, right? And so he used that. They're going if they know your name, guys, and you are on there and they're saying your name, but you don't have anybody on there to hear it, then they're not helping you build your business. Basically, you just got celebrated, right? But I always want to have people on there, when they actually say your name, so you can actually that third party credibility kicks in on your behalf, right? So any of the Foresight members, anybody who that's here, that's working with us, trust me. You go out there and make it happen, I'm gonna make sure I say your name. I'm gonna make sure that I shine a light on you and make sure that people know that you're out there building. So if anybody in your team is listening to any of those calls, I'm gonna be beating your chest so you don't have to, right? That's important. Remember, the egos, guys. This is where you don't even have to worry about being an egotistical individual, who is seeking, attention and stuff like seeking the limelight. And, you don't have to do it because everything is being done for you. The system will always help you build your team if you go out there and build it first. All right. So let's see here. Appreciate that, Ms. Bean. Now, when it comes to this weekend, guys, we want to make sure that, we're on purpose. March Madness. Remember, the one thing you don't want to forget about as a builder is you don't want to forget about the Fast Start bonus. You know, that and now for the people who are brand new, you know, well, that $500 bonus, right, is huge, right? That $500 bonus is huge, and then you know, you now learning how to put yourself in a position where you can now count how many of you guys are thinking, but just think about how many of you guys have people who've actually put somebody in the system, and because you'll build a 250 or build a 700 or build a 1500 or build a 2000 like Angel, you know, how many of you guys just say, oh, 1500 like Julie, that when somebody actually recruited somebody, you saw that coded bonus kick in. See, that's the thing. You that when you look at, you know, your trade reports and you see, man, Algo Gold did this, Gold Alpha did this, and now all of a sudden, boom, boom, boom. There's another couple of buys and sales. There's another couple of buys and sales. You're looking for those buys and sales, the blue ones, right? And you can't wait to see it. You keep on refreshing. You come back every 30 minutes, every hour. You refresh it, refresh it. You're looking for them numbers to pop up, right? Now, this is what I want you to understand. You want to get your back office to look like that for recruiting, right? You want to have so many people in business, and while they're in business, they're actually building, doing presentations, right? Doing the massive exposures, using the videos. And what ends up happening is like instead of somebody just telling you that they signed somebody up because you don't go in your back office, right? Because you're brand new or because the group wasn't exploding and growing, when you know the group is growing, you know people are coming on board, every time, every chance you get, you're going to be going to the back office, looking at those numbers, boom, 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 looking at those checks, boom, looking at those commissions, boom, and it's just like, man, it's commission from here, commission from here, commission from here, and next day you're refreshing. We at one point in time when we were at our peak in coffee, we were bringing on 33 to 30, on average, 33 to 34 people per day in the team, not per month, not per week, right? Per day, right? And so 1,100 people a month at that time, $1.2 million per month in sales. And again, the volume was jumping every day. The recruiting numbers was jumping every day. Those checks, it was jumping every day. And you can see, you know, everything. And the more and more you saw it, the more and more you just kept throwing logs into the fire, right? Presentations, right? Presentations, exposing, finding new people, you know, to go ahead and get started and then go ahead and put you in front of their people right away. That's how the magic happens. Get people started and then get into their Rolodex right away. You know, this is you want to be, and I know I got some competitive people here. And so, and I know Tim is he's him, Angel is like it's like a pit bull and a pit bull in a skirt. You know what I'm saying? If I just turn y'all loose on each other, y'all so competitive, I say go. And we're talking about recruiting, they're gonna go. I wouldn't even have to worry about it. Everybody else, I might have to talk you into it, might have to give you a pep talk or whatever. But all I gotta do is wind them two up and go and let them go. Boom. Right. And so that 10 and 10 is gonna get done by that 10 is gonna get done by somebody. Yeah. You just want to be that person like Angel was able to tell. I'm sitting there listening to Angel tell Mrs. Pacheco at the leadership brunch that we had, which was amazing, by the way. When she asked Angel, you know, about the things that were going on and certain questions about, you know, her business, her history, Angel told her, I remember the time when I won the opportunity to work with Mr. Bean and have him help me craft my story. Right. And so that was important to her. But that was also one of those defining moments for her. Right. So I'm just telling you, don't this part, because you get this on a regular basis, you might be in a position where you might be taking this part for granted because I'm almost common to you guys. All right. But in another environment where I specialize and where I give things that I don't give on trainings like this, and I don't give on millionaire mentorship calls because I'm not giving 100% of my valuable stuff away like that, especially for people who haven't done, you know, the lower level stuff. right? You can't, I'm not going to give you the next level stuff if you haven't mastered the first stuff, right? Like my wife says, you ain't taking the second step if you never take the first one. So why would I give you the best stuff when you haven't did the most basic stuff, right? So go out there and really give me an opportunity to help you build a story around yourself, around Gold Alpha, and build that community of those 10 people that you put in, build a community around those people. Because when they see me working with you and they hear, your story and they see how this thing pans out and they start hearing me promote your name every time I do a presentation, every time I do a training or whatever it is, those individuals are going to look up to you. They're gonna respect you as long as you're doing your part and become respectable. While we're going through that process, you'll see yourself become a leader almost overnight. You'll do what's required because you're gonna be getting the coaching, you're gonna be getting the mentorship. So, you'll get it done. But you want to make sure that again you do this part. Take a. I used to always take. My wife would tell you. I used to always take a promotion, and I would use the promotion that was open for everybody in our groups and make sure everybody in our groups was running for that promotion. So now I'm not by myself, one, so the numbers are going to come in. But I was always leading by example. I wasn't holding anybody back, but you weren't going to run faster than me. Telling you, tell me, like, if you were on my team, is good luck catching me, right? And if you was in front of me, good luck staying ahead of me because you wasn't safe. Like literally, I'm coming for everybody. That's always been the mentality, always been the attitude, right? So like if I got to stop and do a three-way for you, and we running, I'm gonna stop doing a three-way for you, but I'm gonna go out there, JD, and make sure I'm out there running so far to where I almost get out of sight to where you now have to activate. You got to start jogging instead of walking, just so you can at least still see me, okay? Because there's a point in time, guys, when you're building a seven-figure portfolio where you won't have time for people who are not building at all. Those individuals will get access to you like at events, right? Or because when you start putting people as a priority who are building, because you have to do that and catch them while they're hot and give them what they deserve, which is your time. The people who don't deserve your time, who used to get it, just because they stop getting it, and a lot of those people actually take it personal, right? That's also the challenge with this is a challenge that some leaders have that really like being around people is that in traditional network marketing you normally have to do something to gain access to leadership, and people want to be in close company with people who have a status and people who've done some things, people who have information, and they're willing to work for it, right? But if you don't put them in a position where they have to, they'll never have to because they already got the reward, they already got access to you, and so now they don't have to go be a leader. Now they don't have to go and recruit anybody. They don't have to go do any presentations. They don't have to do anything because they already got, the thing that they value, which is access to you. Think about it. If we just went away today and say tomorrow we come back, I'm not putting anybody, I'm starting a new group and I'm not putting anybody into it until you put at least one person in it. Okay. You never see me, you never talk to me as a leader. Everything you do in your business at this point in time will be on your own. How many of you honestly would that make a difference to you and trigger something in you? I mean, just so because if I was ever and that's how I thought about it, right? So my wife will tell you, like if I was always running, I was always gunning to make sure that nobody was going to take my spot in that time allotment that I had with my leaders calendar. Like nobody was ever going to be able to take that position from me. I was and I made money because of it, but it was the fear of loss of him because I watched how good he was at helping people make money. I watched how dynamic he was at helping people create income stories, right? And I watched how he helped people evolve, and that I'm like, yeah, I'm not gonna ever let anybody get access to my time. They can have access to, Jarek's time or Carly's time or Amanda's time, but nobody's ever gonna get access to my time because I'm gonna make sure I earn it. I'm gonna make sure that I always have three ways lifelines going on so he can see that I'm working. I'm gonna always make sure I'm breaking rank down to my team and reporting it. I'm gonna always make sure that we had people on the Cage Club and so we were selling bulk coffee. I'm gonna always make sure we were actually doing presentations and I would send him the numbers of IPAs on a regular basis. I wanted him to make sure that he knew that I was worthy of his time and that, you know, that was important to me. And again, just by me always staying in perpetual motion because of that fear of loss that I created for myself, we always made differences. We always made money. We always made the numbers always did what they're supposed to do. The promotions always went through the roof. Okay. Always. So put yourself in that position. I go back to it. That 10, that getting your 10, get your 10. Remember, it's not who gets the 10 first. It's just that you get your 10, right? That's it. Think for those of you who were in Vegas, if you can just kind of shed a little light on just and that the story and the story part of that, you know, the training. You know, if you can, anybody can just jump on and talk a little bit about you know how different that training was and the feel of that training and what versus what I normally train and how if me and you really sat down and we started working on that and honing that on and that was just a thumbnail sketch. I didn't even give y'all everything then, but there's layers to that that really makes that go. If you can speak to that, I'm gonna just pause for a second, get one or two conversations or three or whatever, because the value needs to really be there.
Yeah, so Mr. Bean, for me, that training about how to craft your story and it just made a significant difference for me because to be honest with you, I didn't even really understand that I had a story. And I didn't understand the power of my story until you did that training. Now, when I speak to individuals, I can tell my story. I have an identity. That training made me understand that I have an identity that I can share with people through my story and through my purpose. Sometimes you feel like you are like a leaf in the wind in terms of your business, but you got to connect to your business and understand how your commitment to your business is a story. You know, here I am, you know, a 70-plus-year-old lady that is doing a business to create legacy for my grandchildren. That's a powerful story. There's other people out there that want to do the same thing. And when I learn how to tell that story with power, like you were showing us, it impacts people. It impacts people. So
Yeah.
I'm telling you, that training was just over the top. And I'm gonna run for I'm gonna run for your time, sir. I just would like to
No.
ask you, please make it to the end of the month.
Well, I'll just say it's done, right? Just say it's done. And I'm going to say right now what's going to end up happening is you're going to figure out a way to collapse that time frame, make sure you get more exposures in and everything. Because I'm going to tell you, when you look at the story now and how you position the story, because what most people do is like you can see somebody walking by, like I said, if you ever walk by a hole and you look down in the hole, right, and that person's stuck, obviously. Okay. And that person said, please help me. He said, you know what? I can help you. And then, you know, when they say, okay, well, now they're waiting, they reaching up for you to pull them out. And you say, okay, so, but before I help you, this is what I want to do. I want to make sure I tell you my vision. This is the vision. Now they're stuck in the hole, you know, and they're just like they're trying to get out. Want you to help them out, but now you're giving them the vision. You're giving them why you're doing stuff. You're giving them, you know, you're giving them everything except for you know the way to get out. They want to know that you can help them get out and that you've also gotten out of a hole before. So basically you don't start your story in the beginning. In most cases, like I said, when you're having a conversation with somebody and dialogue with somebody, right? If you notice, like a lot of the last stories have been repositioned and catered to, hey, I've been to where I've been with you guys. I'll start off with saying, yeah, a lot of you guys are going through some things that I've been through. And I've been through foreclosure. I've been through a repossession of bankruptcy. I can help you with that. And I'm using this company to help people just all around the world. Right. And so I didn't say, hey, look, this is what I did. This is what I did. No, I'm saying this, you guys are going through some things. So that's a part of it, you know. And so now you can turn around and tell your story within helping. I'm qualified to help you in this situation because I've been through this, right? Just like it's even with y'all on the walk and talk, losing weight, stuff like that. I'm qualified, you know, to help you with this. I've been struggling with this my whole entire life. Like I was just telling my guy, yes, I'm on the Oprah Winfrey weight loss regimen, you know, the yo-yo one, up and down, up and down, up and down, right? Lose the weight, gain the weight, lose the weight, gain the weight. I say, but for the first time, I literally feel like it's not going to come back. I have control over it, and I'm doing great. As a matter of fact, I can help you on some things because he thought that visceral fat was the hardest fat to get off of. I said, no, you've been misinformed. I said, so yeah, you got that information backwards. I said, let me send you some stuff. And so this is what I've been looking and watching to get myself out of the situation that I'm in. So this is how I got the 38 pounds off. This is how I kept it off. And so I use my story within the confines of guiding them to the information and guiding them into the answer. So it's the same thing. You're using that story, like Laura said, you know, to hey, look, right now you're in the same place. You have grandkids, you have children, you know, you want to make sure that they're taken care of. You want to make sure that they have a future. And so I'm in the same place right now, which is why I've already gotten started on my journey. I've already started opening up investment, you know, things for my grandson. And my grandchildren. I've already started. I've already built a community. And I can help you with that, you know. And so you take that story and weave it in there. But I appreciate that, Laura. Yeah, that's identity, guys. That identity is very, very important, and how you position yourself in people's stories is very, very important as well. Carla.
Um, Another thing in terms of the training is being clear and concise in how we tell our story with the economy of words. One of the challenges that I have experienced and that I've been working on is being economical with my words. I know that I tend to do a little bit of word salad, so that's something that I'm growing in that area. Thank you so much for allowing me to share.
And another thing about words, guys, right now, if you're looking at, and I'll just give you guys some of the things that I do. I don't talk over people's heads, right? You know, the words are very, very important, and just because they're in a dictionary doesn't mean people know them, right? Keep it simple, right? If you look at like a really big company like Motel 6, and they say, you know what, we'll leave the light on, right? That's their thing. Leave the light on for what? If you're a brand new, if you're a brand new you know, hotel, and that's your slogan, we'll leave the light on, and you're not a nationwide recognized brand that knows you, that you can get away with that. They say, well, why y'all got critters outside? Why you leaving the lights on so we can know how to find y'all? Or what's going on with the lights? It's like it's you just want to tell a person, hey, something very, very simple. Tell them exactly what you're doing. You know, don't try to get fancy with the words. Don't just right now, as a beginning entrepreneur, just tell people what you do, right? And make it really, really simple. Okay. And the more and more you do that, the better you get at that, right? The easier you'll see that people will now start to actually reply to your posts because they understand it. You know, people actually start getting on some of your calls because they're understanding why they need to get on your calls. Because when you tell a person, hey, look, you know, this call is going to show you, you know, how I got out of foreclosure, bankruptcy, and repossession, and the things that you're going through. I'm going to show you how you can prevent that, or how you can overcome that, or how you can, whatever it is. I'm going to, you know, tell a person what you're doing. Don't tell them, don't worry about oh guys, I'm going to show you state of art technology when it comes to algorithms. We got the best, you know, quantitative trading devices and equipment and algorithms out there. And it's just, you know, no, you're talking over people's heads. People don't understand that. Okay. I'm just going to teach you how to now make money and invest like successful people, right? Like wealthy people. Okay. I want to show you what the successful people are now pivoting to that's helping them get 40 to 50% a year on their returns. And they're adding this to their portfolio to go sit right next to the things that they've been getting 10% per year on their investments. Right. So I'm telling them what it is. I'm keeping it really, really simple. And so if somebody still has to explain it after they read it, it's not simple enough. Go back and look at all your posts and look at how you post it, right? And learn from those posts, right? And this thing, like I said, I help people make money. Okay, help people make. Then look at the demographic. Help people make money with for what, right? And so right now, I'm a SASA senior, and I fortunately made a lot of great decisions in my life to where, you know, I'm in a position financially where I can do some investments, I can do this and that. And so, you know, what I want to do is I want to help other seniors, my other Golden Girls, my other SASA seniors, and say, hey, this is what you can do. You know, this is what we can work on. This is what I can help you make money for. You know, I can help you go out here and expand. You know, just whatever it is. Now you're helping them make money to retire, or helping them make money to build a portfolio for their grandkids, or helping them make money to stop the bleeding, helping them make money to rebound from 2025, the year that was financially. All right. So create that lane and sit there for a second. And it's got more layers to it, but you don't have to because once you start adding this, that, and other, and you start trying to say everything that you want, that person wants money for, now you're going back down into that area where they can understand everything they're reading, but there's so much to the read that this still kind of confusing them. Find that space and sit in there, and they'll let you know, I also need money for this, or I also need help with that, or I also need to, and that'll work. But yeah, just keep it real simple. James.
Hey, good morning, Mr. Reed. Good morning,
Yes, sir.
team. Sadly, the thing that sticks with me from the training is confused people do nothing. I definitely came to Vegas trying to get some clarification of what Build is doing, where we were headed, what is the focus. I got that, definitely got that. But I also got from you the John Maxwell book, Everybody Communicates, Few Connect. So I definitely feel a increase in my ability to connect, tell the story, just talking with people, finding the pain points. But great training throughout. I'm glad we finally had the event in Vegas. Kind of the anticipation for a while to get that going. But it was great to be around the leadership of the company, and yeah, just definitely motivated to get unconfused and find my direction here. So thank you for your time this morning.
No problem. And like I said, that's the thing about it, guys. Like that confusion, once you get clarity, all right, everything else is history, because once you get clarity and you know what it is that you're doing and why you need to be doing it, all your efforts go straight there. All your efforts go they're straight there to, and you now it's like you're operating on a cleaner energy. All right. It's like you got gas in it, but it's like it's like that old cheap stuff, that 79 grade or 78 grade or 87 grade or whatever. It's not premium. It's not premium. Clarity gives you a premium to where you don't have any hiccups, you don't have any speed bumps, you don't have any, it's just man, clear, crisp, clean. This is what it is. This is the vision. All right. This is my focus. Now I can go ahead and design this thing, I can build this thing, and now everything makes sense. And so, I get to that point, fight to get to that point. So when you look at that, that event, every event, I'm coming out of events with more and more clarity, right? Always, because I always go into the event with clarity. I go into the event knowing exactly what I want to get out of it. And then when I get there, because that's what I'm looking for, that's what I receive. I receive other stuff, but I'm going to get what I came for. Yeah. And so for sure, that clarity. All right, Amanda.
Okay, so for me, it was the story, and you said about building a catalog of stories, and then the culture. The culture that day, like I always say, we like your stepkids because I'm not in that group, but I feel like I'm in that group now. And I met a lot of new people, and built relationships that even as I come back, I get to call Latoya, Miss Laura, Miss. You know, I've made good relationships, and one thing that Mr. Pacheco said was, if you don't believe in this business, why are you in it? That hit real hard because I do believe in this business and I'm all in with this business. And just being able to get on your calls is a blessing for me and for my team. So it's all about what we learn and what we take away. And I'm trying to build my catalog of stories now. So I
She
do
said,
thank you for
trying.
that.
She said, I'm trying.
Oh, I'm not trying. I'm building. I'm taking
Okay.
that word
All
out.
right. Okay. There you go.
Sorry. I'm
There you
taking it
go.
out. I'm
All right.
building my catalog of stories.
I'm gonna have to give me a little Sandman meme and have him dancing out on the screen and turn y'all camera off when y'all say try stuff like that. See if AI can do something like that for me. No, but I'm glad that you are feeling that way. I'm glad that you were actually able to really make those connections. I'm glad that you're able to see, the strength, in culture. That's very, very important. And so that's where it starts. I mean, when people believe that they're in the right place, let me say that with the right people, uh, it gives them the ability to go ahead and move freely, and so that you add that with clarity. Now, instead of just moving freely, they run, freely. And so that's very, very important. So clarity plus culture, you know, equals climatic activity and productivity. JD.
Yes, sir. Good morning, everybody. So the one thing I got a lot out of the event, but one thing still sticks with me is take massive action when it's time. When you learn something, do it immediately. Don't. I'm pretty sure it came from there. When you learn something, do it. The other thing was learn how to question. Learn how to question and then wait for someone to give you an answer. Don't answer for them. So that was big for me. I'm still developing that. And of course, the culture. I hate missing out, so I'm gonna be here as much long as I can. So thank you for that, Mr. Bean. I'm about to go back on mute.
Yes, sir. And applying it right away. We do that every day. I see you guys doing it every day, even with the walk and talk. And so we'll say something and we'll go buy it. Like I literally, somebody talk about it, they're going to buy it. Thomas puts the recipe in there, they're making it. It's like somebody said, wait a minute, they had this recipe that made it, and like it was all good. Like next thing you know, oh, it was the recipe that Thomas put in there, right? And so yeah, so they took Professor's recipe, applied it right away. JD, he's getting stuff, and he's coming back the next day. I applied that yesterday, after hearing it, and most of y'all have applied the whip the chip. It's like immediately, right? And so it's just like even with me with that exercise I was telling y'all about, I applied it. This is day 3 of me doing that exercise, and so, tightening up your actual, your body's natural corset, what I'm saying, that exercise. So it's just like doing different things, whatever you do, like when the moment I announced that promotion, right? You should always be, JD, the person, bro, like that when something is announced, you should be the person that activates immediately. You should be the person who goes and runs and really runs to knock it out immediately because nobody else is doing it like that. Nobody else is thinking about it like that. Like you got, only people who are doing it like that and thinking like that are people who are elite leaders, people who are big time winners, people who they understand what it takes to have the unfair advantage because everybody else is going to lose by default, right? Everybody else has to be reminded. Everybody else has to be poked and prodded. Everybody else has to be stimulated. Everybody else has to be inspired. Everybody else has to, so like it's like if you got to be the person that needs nothing when something is announced. So when the company says, "Hey, this is what we're doing. This is promotion," boom, bam. They should already know. Hey, JD's running for it. Matter of fact, JD's already did it. He does it every time we be that person. Make that your brand, right? When that becomes your brand, and you become that gal or that guy, the rest, as they say, is history. Because now they're going to be looking at you and looking to you because they know as soon as they promote something, you're going to come back with results and impact, and they're going to be able to celebrate you. You're going to be able to recognize you. You're going to be the person that validates everything that they promote, right? You're gonna be the person that puts everybody in a position that says, "Man, you know what? God, no, JD did it again. He's always first. He's always winning, or he's always involved. He's always getting edified. He's always whatever it is, you know, keep that and master that, own that. Like I was the master promoter, right? That was my thing. I couldn't present to save my life. Public speaking was not my thing. Doing presentations was not my thing. Doing trainings was not my thing. But I had to find something, right? I had a gold tooth in my mouth. You know, I didn't have any suits and ties. Look like this. I had polo boots, stars down jeans, polo shirts, a lot of rings on my fingers. The one thing that I can do was promote and edify somebody else, campaign for somebody's project, campaign for somebody's product, campaign for somebody's success, and them saving their own lives, them being the hero in their story. I was always great at campaigning, and the more and more I realized that other people wasn't, and the only people who were the ones who made the most money, that's what I leaned on. That's what I focused on. I made that my thing, right? And so everything else that I'm great at doing, right, or exceptional at doing, or really good at doing, right, those things came along. I honed those over time. Right? Like when you go back to the story, I forgot it's what book of John C. Maxwell's it was in. I think it's Developing the Leader Within You or Developing Leaders Around You. One of those two books where he talks about, you know, where should a leader put their time? You know, if it's going to give you, you know, the same amount of results and impact, you know, in two different places, right? Where should you put the time? So he used a person who sells muffins, you know, at a muffin shop. And he says, hey, look, you got two people who sell muffins. One, they sell 3 muffins an hour. You got other one, they sell, you know, 10 muffins or 12 muffins an hour, whatever it was. He says, so if you can only give your time to one person, and let's say that time is going to whoever you give it to is going to basically increase their productivity 100%, right? So where does it make, you know, where are you going to spend your time? So if you invest your time with the person who sells 3 donuts an hour or 3 muffins an hour, guess what? They're going to now go from 3 to 6 an hour. So they've doubled their production from 3 to 6. Okay. But the person who is selling 12 an hour, if you invest that same amount of time in them and they doubled their output, right? And they went from 12 to 24 an hour, that means that now your time is best invested, right, in the person who has 12 or who's selling 12 muffins an hour. So when you take that and you put that on your skill set, right? If you know for a fact that where you focus on, you're going to get the biggest return on your money, right? So, because everything else is things that you're going to be working on. We're talking about your strong suit, right? Doesn't have to be presenting, doesn't have to be, you know, doesn't have to be training, doesn't have to be public speaking. It just has to be something. And you just saying, you know what, I am going to attack everything that they put out there better than everybody, and that be your thing. Start there. Find out what you're great at, start there, and shine in that area and continue to build around, get better at it, perfect it, own it, right? Live in it. Like Carly, she edifies better than everybody I know, right? And it's just when you look at it, flows, you know, the music in it, you know, the connections in it, and she can literally edify anybody at any time. All she needs is a couple of bullet points and it's a wrap, right? And so she leaned into that and she made that her thing. She literally she hit to the point to where she was able to introduce Mrs. Bean on many occasions throughout her career, and all her team was there to see that wow, she has access to Mrs. Bean. She's in communication with Mrs. Bean. She's literally being coached and mentored by Mrs. Bean. Mrs. Bean has her introducing her, you know, not just on Zooms and conference calls, but in person when she comes to the market, right? So, oh, now Carly is introducing the VP of sales, and Carly is introducing whoever it is. Now Carly is introducing, you know, and so now because she's so great at introducing people, right? It's her thing. She's now gained access to different rooms and different resources. So you gotta lean on. I leaned on being a master promoter. I understood that everybody's not going to do what I do on the level I do. They're not going to be committed. They're not going to have those conversations with themselves and with other people. I got to make sure people show up. I got to put butts in seats, ears where they can hear, and eyes where they can see, their ears in the chair. That was my thing. I was going to be the best at it. And they'll tell you when they did promotions, master promoting, they had to stop giving it to me. And they made basically the Sam Bean rule. We can't give it to him every month, even though he's basically winning it every month. We have to give somebody else a chance to win it. That's what it got down. That's what it came down to, JD. They had to give somebody else a chance to win it because it was my award. I owned it. So you couldn't beat me at that. So, but while I was blowing you out and promoting and getting and filling up the room, Amanda, what I was also doing was I was learning how to communicate, right? I was learning how to speak. I was learning how to present. I was learning how to articulate. I was learning how to connect with people from the stage and not be fearful of them. I was learning how to, do all the stuff that I was like my three muffin things. I was learning how to increase all those three muffin things to 6 and 9 and 7 and 8. And while I was making those 12 muffin things, 24, 46, 36, what I'm saying? That's where the money came from. So figure out what it is right now that's centered around what it is that we do right now. Lean in on it. But everybody, and I do mean everybody, needs to become a master promoter, which is a master storyteller. You have to go out there and put yourself in a position where when people hear you tell stories, they literally lose themselves in your story. Because we, as human beings, and I'll go to Tim next. Well, as human beings, just so you know, guys, we stay distracted. The only thing that can get a person out of their head and focused on something is a story. Think about it. On social media, every post or every video you watch, you're looking for the story. All right. And so if something pops up, you going on social media, you going on Facebook to go into your inbox. You can't even make it to your inbox because some popped up, some story about 50 Cent T.I. popped up, some story about, the president, in Iran popped up, some story about, it's always a story that can get your attention, but also the same story is distracting you. I am a master promoter, right? Yeah, like Tim said. So, but you got to be the person who can actually captivate people's audiences, captivate audiences with your stories. Guys, if you remember when I first got here, it was my stories that got people, enthralled and when it comes to me speaking and presenting and how different I spoke, how different I presented, it was the stories that I told though that endeared people to me. It was the stories that I told that made people respect me. It was the stories that I told that made people want to, know more about me and plug more into me, right? So I got people's attention with the stories. So be a master promoter. Make sure you're mastering your storytelling, but make sure you get the 10 so you can actually get that time. So go ahead, Tim.
Thank you, Mr. Bean, for that. I'm just writing pages. I think I got like 5, 6 pages of notes, man. This is amazing. Yeah, when we were at the event down there in Vegas, and you broke down that 7-part framework of a story. I've never heard it broken down like that before. You says tell your story, but you broke it down and made it intentional. Your story was intentional to capture all those elements, the character. What the problem was, that you're being the guide, you're not the hero. What the plan was, and then a call to action. Because sometimes we tell a story, but there's no call to action. And then you know how to put that whole element together. And I just thought that was just so powerful. And you said a quote. No, it was a quote or a phrase, but it says, if you tell your story like a broken record, you will break records.
You'll go on to break records.
Yeah. And I was
like a broken record over and over and over and over and over and over again, you'll go on to break records.
Break records, absolutely. And so that was just so powerful. And it's so interesting while we were on the phone just talking, I got a call from LaFontaine Blue just now.
Mm.
Are we on the call?
Mm.
I'm like, what they calling me about? I know I paid my bill. What did I do? They called me, said, Mr. Neal, this Tim Neal. I said, yes. They said, did you stay in room 29? I said, I sure did. They said, well, actually, we got some clothes here for you. Looks like you left the blue shirt, couple of red ties, and something else. We can go ahead and get that sent to you. And if you give us your email address, because we try to send you a different email, and all you just got to do is pay for shipping. Would you like that? I said, oh, absolutely. And so we just got off the phone. I said, man, that's another part of my story. Got to stay at use a Venti, stay at a 5-star hotel. Here they are calling me, trying to locate me to let me know I left clothes there so I can get it back. Who does that? What hotel does that? Right? That's going to be a part of my story that I'm gonna weave into when I'm talking about this great opportunity in the membership when I get to that part of the Venti membership. So thank you for that, sir. And that's going to be intentionally in my story where I place it. So turn it back over to you, Mr. Bean.
And think of how many other people telling travel stories with something like that in there. That's a different story. That's a whole entirely different perspective, right? That's out of the norm. But it's one of those things where, where you used to staying at 5-star hotels, you used to getting the service like this. And so this is one of the services that we got, and so, but think about it, because normally they steal your stuff at hotels, or they put it in lost and found, and you had to figure out if it's where you lost it at, so you can actually get there, to actually retrieve it, right? And so, guys, when you look at 5-star hotels, there's extreme value in staying at places like that. Okay, so when you actually look at staying where the leader is staying, like that morning when we woke up on Sunday morning, you didn't have to catch a cab or Uber or anything like that over there. That's like the meeting after the meeting type of thing, but it was just that morning. And I'm gonna talk about the meeting after the meeting in just a second here and why it's important to have those. But we set that meeting, right? And we had a last minute breakfast, and you guys were already there. You had already ate. As a matter of fact, we had changed the time so you guys can go walk and do your thing and go eat and get ready before we actually had our conversation. So when I got there, you guys are already there. As a matter of fact, Andrea had moved half the food court around, and she put like all kind of we was in the middle of the food court, and she had all kind of tables together and chairs together. We was like, hold on, he's not gonna be here, but let's go ahead and put this back. We're gonna be over there where it's a little bit more quieter. But you don't get that, guys, if you're not, like I said, it's harder for you to get that if you're not at the hotel. I've never not stayed at the same hotel that my leader stayed at. I was always there, because if I'm in their room and they're saying, hey, look, come by the room, right? And and come have a drink with us, or come sit down and let's have some conversation about, business or whatever, about your team. I just tell you, that's, I'll always live for those moments, and I'll always look for those text messages. I always look for those phone calls. And think about it, you have people who, with Mrs. Bean, like Laura and a couple others, who did some walking and talking and working out, and breakfast with Mrs. Bean while she was there, and at the same hotel. So if you're at that hotel, you get a chance to have access, to things like that, And so we had some time with me and Cameron and Eddie, and some of the others, Matt, and some of the others, we got a chance to, sit down, and Jim, and got a chance, JD got a chance to sit down and have conversations, right? So when you're not at the hotels, though, it's like that doesn't happen, right? And so you want to make sure that, you're always at the guest hotels, guys. You want to make sure you're always in a position where, it's like you have that ability. If you're like a Laura, Angel, Carla, some of the women who actually got that Mrs. Bean time, that the quality time, right? So that's important. But that meeting after the meeting, guys, anytime you're out, this is what I want you guys to start doing, okay? And this is some leadership stuff here. When you go out with your groups, guys, remember, your group is with you. You're not with them. Okay? Your group is with you. You're not with them. Okay? This is what I mean by this. If you ever notice what happens when you're out with your group, y'all talk about everything under the sun, because your group's talking about everything under the sun. Your group is the tail that's wagging the dog. Your group is the one that's got everybody talking about Trump, got everybody talking about, what's happening over here, what's happening over there. They're talking about everything except for something productive, right? Everybody's having a good time. Now, there's a time and place for a good time. And so what happens is at that point in time, you say, hey, look, guys, I want to talk about something real quick here. I want to have a coaching moment, with you guys. We're going to have a meeting after meeting real quick. And so now you hold court. This is where after the event's over with that day, go back and have some reflections. Because if you notice, when we sat down, you guys had a whole lot of value out of listening to each other's reflections, that what you guys got from the event and the feedback that came with it. Right. And so you're with your group, I mean, your group is with you. You're the leader. You're the one that dictates what's happening and whether that time is wasted, okay, or if it's productive. Leaders don't waste time and don't allow people to waste time. Okay. So when you're having your meetings after the meetings, make sure it's scheduled, make sure people know exactly where to go, and make sure you have what you want to talk about, what you want to highlight, what the agenda should be, and what the focus should be. So, like, coming back after that meeting, after the meeting phone call, like after the millionaire mentorship call, you can have, these are conversations, even though it's not a location. I'm still saying, hey, I'm calling my people. Like if I'm in a group, got a group of people, I'm calling Angel after millionaire mentorship call. Say, hey, you heard what Mr. Bean said? Hey, you get your 10. What do we need to do to get your 10? Let's what do we got? Are you ready to run and get your 10, or you just want me to go ahead and work with Toya? Hey, I called Toya. Hey, Toya, you ready to get this 10? You heard what he said. Hey, you ready to go ahead and grind and do what we got to do to get it, or you want me to work with Carly? Hey, Carly, you want me to work? You want to go ahead and get it? You want to go ahead and you want me to work with Eddie or Eddie? Hey, Eddie or Eddie, you want to go ahead and get this 10? Or you want me to work with Vic? So I'm making phone calls, to everybody, right? That I feel like their head is in the game. They plugged in. They'll get out there and grind. They actually have a chance of scaring the number if they don't hit it, right? And so after calls like that, that's what my activity is like. It's not a text message, or saying, "Hey, you should do this." I'm excited about you guys having an opportunity to do this. No, you know, what are your plans on doing this? Are you planning on knocking this thing out? Are you planning on accomplishing this thing? What is it? And that's via conversation on a phone. So you want to get back to doing that as well. But the meeting after the meeting, never miss an opportunity to impact your group. Never be at an event with your group and you not be the actual leader. Let them see you set the example. Y'all have a little bit of chat, catch up, and then, hey, real quick, want to talk about these things right here. Lay it out. Talk about Vegas is coming up, the trip that's coming up, which was already gone. And so now would be the next event, or now would be March Madness, or now would be, okay, we got Algo Alpha, and this is what we got to do for the group. This is what we got to do for the company. These are the events that we're going to be having. We're going to have this Houston event. We're going to be doing an extra presentation Zoom on this day, this day, this day, and whatever it is you got laid out after. Now you got the Algo Alphas out, the goals out, and let's run. And you came from this event. What are you talking about with your people, as instead of just having them excited and running around like chickens with their heads cut off with no direction, right? You have those meetings also because that's belly to belly. You got that connection. But coming out of that event, also, you want to see out of the meeting after the meeting, who's actually going to go do something. Like, so after having a conversation like this about going to get the 10, and to get that story, that because winning is a story in itself, right? That's a whole entirely different story, because some of you will have the opportunity to win. And if you win at that slot, you get a chance to tell people what you overcame, right? To do that. Just telling you, it's very extreme. Like Laura says, very, very valuable. It's most valuable moments of her entire career when it comes to business wise, having those moments. But I'm telling you right now, go get it. Have those conversations with people, because we're watching now to see, okay, so who's serious? Who's ready to rock and roll? Right? Like Mrs. Bean asked me, hey, are you having a Thursday, the 300, call? I said, no, I got to reboot that, because right now I don't have the people in that group that I really need. I don't have the the runners, the gunners that I really need in there right now. I don't have the activity, the productivity that we really need right now. It was too many things that happened like that. The women's had their call on like the second night, of this, and we had to move it, or we had to cancel it. Then the company had their presentation on, and it was just one thing after another. So, the more and more things happen with the company, the more and more things dissipated with the team, with the people who were in the group. So right now, what we'll do is we'll go ahead and, we'll do it differently. We're going to come back. We're going to start organically. We're going to start recruiting, start developing, building out, and then we'll figure out who the leaders are in those new groups, because those are going to be the ones that make the difference in the old group. Okay? So the new people are going to be the ones who breathe life back into the old people, right? If there's life to be had. Okay. So, but you won't find that out, just by working with the old people. Like all of you on this screen right now are people who we care about, right? We may not be able to make $1 million with you, but we care about you. And so the difference between leadership and a person who is just in business and a person who's with their team and that team is not with them, I'll be here loving on y'all every week and not doing anything to build my business. I'll be here loving on y'all every week, reflecting and everything else, not recruiting anybody personally, right? I'll be over here loving on y'all every week and begging y'all to move, and not out here recruiting people who want to, use Gold Alpha, finding people to use actual service. So I understand that you have to see people move with me, right? In order for you to move yourself most kind. So I'm just looking to see who's running, and then I'm gonna make sure y'all see somebody running at the same time. I'm paying attention while I'm creating tension. Okay. So that's important. So at the end of the day, guys, again, just these are some of those things we talked about. Make sure you're out here putting yourself in a position where you can win on all levels. Make sure you find out what your identity is, and what you specialize in and what you're going to dominate in. All right. And go out there now, start building a group where we can now help your group respect you on a larger level based on third-party credibility, based on how much we say your name, right? And that's what you always